Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Again, we are here at the result of the hour of assignment. I don't know where you are tonight or this morning. A result of you can look go straight on the site. Yes, Facebook, YouTube, the community hour of engagement. I don't know what I want to welcome you right now. Wherever you are welcome. And again, today we say that we are talking to one of our guests, one of our partner, and woman with a high profile. And we say this time we talk about positive thing and positive people. So we want to welcome you wherever you are and join us again. The hour of the assignment. The hour of the assignment tonight. We will in our guest. We'll be talking to Dr. Onika Shelley. Dr. Onika Shelley is our special guest here tonight, and we're going to be talking more about the assignment and what she's doing and what are some of the things, some questions that we're going to be asking tonight. But mainly, before we get into our discussion, we want to just welcome Dr. Shelley. Dr. Shelley, you're most welcome.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here on this evening and for some this morning. Maybe tuning in. Such a blessing to be here on today.
Okay. Okay. Again, like we said, it's not strange to this platform and having to be one of the person who actually have her own vision, her own dream. And at this time, we're talking about the assignment. We're not just talking about people who preach the word of God. We're not just talking about people who say some good things or doing some good things, probably their education, but we're talking about positive people. And when we say positive people, we mean people who are doing things constructively or probably who are making some positive change in our society. And we've been talking to a few people. The first, Dr. Lee, that you can see on the screen, and the second, we talked to our sister Abby Anderson, uh, actually from the Abbey Foundation and the Agriculture of Organic Food in Liberia. And you heard the big thing that she's doing. And tonight we're going to be talking to Dr. Shelley. She's the formerly called Dr. O. And why? Let me first of all know Dr. Shelley. Why do you call most of the time they call you Dr. O?
Well, it's just it's a AKA name. So
Okay.
Dr. is just the first initial of my name. Most people kind of question how to pronounce my name, but I just have some call me Dr. O, some still call me Coach O, and but the first letter of my name, Onika, and then since I am a doctor in my own rights, it's Dr. O.
Okay. Well, again, wherever you are, again, we are here tonight talking to Dr. Unika Shelit. And this show is all about talking about achievement, talking about the work we do on the assignment. I feel that God have called me on the assignment. So whatever I do, whether it was just talking to people, whatever, just maybe making a late show on that day, whatever I find myself doing, I feel sometime most of the thing I do, God have called me to do it. So tonight, we think as we look at Dr. Shelley in our own first, the question I want to ask you, how you feel about the assignment since you've been doing what you're doing. Are you feeling that God has called you in the area of what you're doing, or the passion you have, or more than just coaching? What do you think, Dr. Shelley?
Oh, absolutely. It's been a part of my life, all of my life, where even as a young child, where individuals were drawn to me for, advice, for words of encouragement, inspiration, motivation. And so it's definitely a call, because one, word from God, one, the strength necessary, find and to try at it, but they don't work out as well. This works out well. It works naturally because it is a natural, it's a call that God has had on my life all my life, like I said, as a little girl. And it gives you the strength to be able to do it every day.
Hmm.
Give it where it does not have to, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like, yes, it's an assignment. Yes, there are things that you have to do, but it doesn't feel like work. It's not that you dread doing it. I mean, you
Yeah.
can do it 24/7, 365 days a year. You can do it if you're not getting paid. You can
Hmm.
do it when you're not really feeling your best, because it's a call that God has called you to do, and not just something that is trendy, and is not because is doing it, or it may not be because the money is good, but it's because it's an assignment.
Hmm.
It's on us
Wow.
things, spite of things that are going on, and like call.
Oh. Oh. Yes. Okay. How can we overcome self doubt and build unwavering self confidence to pursue our dream, according to what you're doing? How can we overcome self doubt and build
That's a
self
great
confidence?
question.
Yeah.
Right, that's a great question. And sometimes self that and having confidence can definitely hinder individuals' personal growth. And so you have to have strategies. A lot of times, I like to say, a lot of times people ask, "What's the secret?" There is no secret. There are strategies that we have to use, and the formula for me is always action. You always have to take action, because
Hmm.
inaction will make you immobile in any area of your life. So you always must be willing to take action despite of how you feel. And so I want to give a few strategies on tonight that
Hmm.
one could use to build that self-confidence, to eliminate the self-doubt. And so you first have to have personal compassion. A lot of times we look to have compassion with other people in other situations, but we overlook the compassion that a person should have for their personal self. So having and practicing self compassion. Have compassion for yourself as if you would someone else. It's almost like, the golden rule: treat other people the way you want to be
The way you,
treated.
yeah,
And I'm
that's
paraphrasing it
Spanish.
for,
Yeah.
for people that may not be familiar with the scripture. But
Hmm.
you want to make sure that you're having that compassion that you have for other people, because a lot of times self-doubt can creep in, and there could be limits on building that confidence if we feel like we're not capable, if we feel like we're not enough, if we feel
Hmm.
like it's not possible. But check this out: a lot of times people have the words of encouragement for other people.
Hmm.
It's going to happen, but else. And we practice having self compassion, that is a strategy for you to build self confidence and for you to eliminate some doubts. The
Hmm.
second strategy I would say is setting achievable goals. Sometimes we can have goals that we feel like is so big. And I'm one that has been in manufacturing within the next 2 months. It'll be 17 years. And like we like to say is, how do you eat the elephant? You eat it one bite at a time. You have to break down your bigger goals into smaller goals. And as you're achieving your goals on every level, it helps you to build the confidence. It helps you get rid of the self-doubt that you can't, that it won't, that it's not possible, that it will not work. But it helps setting small achievable goals, and you're hitting those goals. It gives you the fortitude to want to go and do more. Number two is your self-talk. You have to challenge the self-talk that you're not enough, you're not good enough, it's not for you. You have to challenge that and ask yourself, where did that come from? Who told you that? Why do you feel like you're not enough? Why is it that you feel like you can't do it and other people can? One thing I always tell, my personal way of building my self-confidence, and I've done it for years, I said, if they can do it, I can do it, because I know that God is no respecter of person. And so I always go with an open mind. And it is possible for me to do it. If anybody else has done it, it's possible for me to do it. And it doesn't matter what it is. And so you have to challenge the negative talk. Challenge that you're not good enough. Challenge that it's not going to work. Challenge that you're not enough. Challenge that it's not going to. I always tell myself, whatever I put my mind to, whatever I say is going to happen, it's going to happen. And most people would want to know, why do you believe that? But it is a mental conditioning that you do when you challenge the negative talk that automatically come up. So you have to snatch those thoughts. Anytime you have negative thoughts, you have to think of something positive that's in opposition of it. So that's strategy number 3. Number 4, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of that area that that you only do because it makes you feel good. My shirt that I have on, it said, life begins. It begins at the end of your comfort zone. And so for me, I wear strategies every day. I know some people may feel like you should have on certain attire, but I wear a message on my shirts every day, which draws attention, which also open up doors for conversation for individuals, because they're reading what is on my shirts. And so that's strategy number 4. And then to build that confidence and to get rid of that self-doubt, practice self-care. Stop being the caregiver for everybody and everything, and you feel like you're not in, and that what you need is not important, but you have to practice self-care. And when you practice self-care, and when you begin to challenge the negative thoughts, you get out of your comfort zone, you set goals, and you are achieving them, and you're practicing compassion with your begin to feel like you can take on the world by yourself. It's one of those things where you feel like, who can be against you when you have the Lord on your side? When you practice these strategies that has worked for me for years, when you practice these strategies, you feel like you can do anything. You can do anything. And it doesn't matter about your educational level. It doesn't matter about your support system, even though a support system is good to have. If you have the confidence within yourself, I like to say 99 people can say that you can't, and one person said that you can, you will. But 99 people can encourage you to say that you will, and one person is you say that you won't, and you won't. You have to believe in you. Yeah. You have to believe in you.
You got to believe in you.
Those strategies are strategies that I've used over the years that has built my confidence for me to do the things that I've done. Being in business, action speaks volume for the last 9 years. For me to be an author, either author or co-author in over 30 books, and other things that I've done, it takes having confidence in yourself, believing in yourself, trusting in yourself, having compassion with yourself. Talk to yourself as if you were your own best friend.
Oh my God. believing in yourself, have confidence in yourself. And you mentioned something, one of your achievement that I just you wrote, I think 10 or how many books. I just overheard, a great thing, Dr. Nika. And you said something about being self-confidence. And I look at, the place where you are being driven, not just being self-confident, but uh, looking at the place where your passion has been driven to do something, but you just don't have the resources to do it. And when you're speaking about how can you overcome when it comes to financial barriers, where you really have the passion, like you talk about the self-confidence. All of us have those challenges. What do you think, your audience or whoever that is listening, what are some of those strategies, or what are the attributes that you must have in order to just go for it, even though you don't see the money?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of resources that are available.
Hmm.
Of course, money. But when there are financial barriers, I always say you have to either have time or you have to have money.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of things that we
Mhm.
with and when we spend a lot of time in areas that we may not have the finances in, there are opportunities
Hmm.
where finances could come. You can find
Yeah.
something, I mean, something simple, something that you're good at. You can make something, you can sell something, you can support someone.
Hmm.
Sometimes you can find sponsors. Sometimes, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to, I always say you have to work the works until you get to working in your work. And what I mean by that, sometimes you have to do some other things until you have to do the things that you need to do in order to do the thing.
Hmm.
And so when you have good discipline, we have to have good discipline. When we don't have
Discipline.
finances, you have to have good disciplines where you can say, okay, I will discipline myself to learn how to do this thing or this thing. I would discipline myself where I put
Hmm.
time in. And more you, the more you're able to achieve the goals in which you are needing to achieve. But when
Hmm.
you when you couple the free resources, and sometimes it takes a little longer for some than others, but
Hmm.
sometimes you have to start off doing things yourself before you can hire somebody.
Yeah.
Start doing things yourself, but you have to look deep within, search for this, and work in that area. A lot of times people don't work in their area
Yeah.
of purpose because they're looking at what's trendy. But
Hmm.
what's trendy may not be what brings in finances for you. May be
Yeah.
good at, I mean, I always say if you have a stove, if you
Hmm.
have pencil and paper, I mean, you can write and sell
Yeah.
books. You can bake cookies, you can bake cakes. You can find a way, find that thing that you could do that can then begin to I like
Hmm.
I like to say have a good side hustle or a good hustle where you can have a good in the funds as you start to build the things in which you desire, because it's going to take more than just passion.
Yeah.
Passion is good, but passion is coupled with action,
Action. Hmm. Oh.
and it's not always just asking for outright donations. You have to have a give and take. What do you have to give
To
in
give,
order to get?
to receive.
Some
Yeah.
people, the days of just outright donations are pretty much, I'm not going to say, but people are more skeptical,
Hmm.
creative with the resources that are available that will then turn into additional resources
Hmm.
and then from there. I hope I
Wow.
answered your question.
Oh. Okay. Let me go to the next question. What are some practical strategies to maintain a healthy work-life balance and prevent uh, burning out? What are some practical strategies?
You know, they that say all work and no play. The perfect formula is to have just as much fun working in life. So
Hmm.
the days are over for just working, 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 working.
Hmm.
To think of it is, I mean, we
Wow.
work ourselves to death,
Hmm.
or we'll work ourselves out of health, and
Wow.
then the money and the things that we have earned to achieve the wealth, we have to spend it to try to get
Hmm.
our health back. And so
Yeah.
we have to
Hmm.
play hard. We have to play just as hard as we work. Take
Yeah.
out time. Like for me personally, every 2 weeks I'm going to go get my hair done. And I mean, it may not. I'm going to go get my hair done. I'm going to go get my feet done. I am going to go in and I take myself out to eat. You don't have to wait to have a crowd of people. You don't have to wait for somebody to take you. You don't have to wait
Hmm.
for nobody's permission. You
Wow.
know, you don't need a permission or approval. You need to take action. And so, in
Hmm.
order to have that
Yeah.
work life balance, it's really just what it is. You can look at your work and your personal life as a scale, and if one is outweighing the other, it's not balanced. And I mean,
Hmm.
you try to figure out, well, how do I balance out with the kids, and how do I balance out with the husband, or how I balance out with the wife and the my responsibilities within the church. It can all be done. And I'm gonna sum this question up with this. I say I live a life of ands and not or. I can do this and I can do that. I can do
Hmm.
this and I can do that. So
Wow.
I was a single mom at one point to see. I used to say my
Hmm.
two biological kids, two adopted kids, and two foster kids. But it did not prevent from doing. I can travel and still be a single mom. I can work a full-time job. I can run a business. I can be an author. I can have some time to myself and not feel guilty about it.
Hmm.
That's a key point. A lot of times people feel like they feel guilty when they take time out for themselves. It's necessary. It's not selfish, it's necessary. So in order to have that work-life balance and to prevent feeling overwhelmed, find some things that you love to do. And you don't,
Sounds.
I'm not talking about find some things that you love to do when you have time to do them. Make time to do them, schedule time to do them. We all have 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. Pencil in some time
Hmm.
to do the things that you love so that when you go back to work, you won't feel overwhelmed. You won't feel burnt out. You won't
Hmm.
feel tired and feel like this is all I do. No, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that.
That's right. Find some time for yourself, and that's a point. Working smart and working harder, and like you said, you know, uh, you got to make yourself happy, and I'd say, on the assignment, sometime you get overwhelmed. And you think that, well, God don't like you, and you get so bad mirth, and you just get so angry about yourself because of the thing that you are doing. So when you talk about the, not just accept the practical thing, in order to have this confidence, and then make sure that you don't overwhelm yourself, make yourself happy, go to places that you think you feel like or you're supposed to do for yourself. And it's a good point, that I want to ask this question. What do you think, even if you call on an assignment, and you guys are partner, the reason why this whole thing is about is not just to give other people the strength and the experience, and looking at your own self. You got single mothers, and especially in our time, that sometimes they feel so burdensome, and they just want to have somebody, because, well, they feel that they got to have them. But looking at your assignment, what kind of person in your in you in you, you envision, to to make it happen, for you? Is it that you depend on men, or probably you're a self-dependent person? That that question is very terrible. For you, independent person, I just want to know what you did, like your second question, to be self, what is word independent, to be an independent person? What does it really mean to you as a mother who have actually grown with your grown children? What is the experience you have?
I mean, you have to have a spirit. You have a but at the same spirit of dependency, and they sound like it sound like that you're saying at the same time, my strength comes from the Lord.
Yeah.
And so when I walk by faith, trusting in God, that God would give me the strength. God gave me the strength to do the things that I needed to do, that I did not have time. Sometimes we have to spend a lot of times trying to figure things out. But he always works out when you take it to the Lord in prayer, and he will give you, so that things that may take somebody 2 hours, I make it do in 20 minutes. And so you go everything and not feel like some things are not important to him. How is it that I need to needed to raise my children? How is it that I need to do my job? How is it that I need to do these things? And he gave the strategies on how to do it, so that everything was able, didn't have to feel wham, and have to feel like if I did or do the other. So a lot of times I get enough of this, but I can find balance in having those strategies in place by one, prayer, two, not really knowing, I don't have to know the outcome before I start. A lot of people get stuck by needing to know the end. I just need to know the very next step, the very step. When you're thinking about a staircase, you don't have to know it's 20 steps. You just need to be able to take the next step from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 6 to 7, etc. You don't need to know that it's 20 until you get to the top and figure, man, my legs are tired. I don't know how many steps it was. I'm going to count them on my way down. But you just need to know the next step.
Yeah. Oh my God. So let's look at the 10 questions. I think we have the 10 questions. And when you talk about independent, there are a lot of people who are independent, and they sometimes feel so lonely, stay despite their independency, and then they're relying on themselves, but with the kind of thing I see, those of us who are listening, should have a confidence. She said the confidence you should have, it shouldn't be a confidence of strength, encourage yourself all the time, because you see sometimes we find ourselves into a other relationship or around the kind of people that we find ourselves, and we don't have this self-esteem, we don't have something to encourage us, and we fall aside. So on the assignment, or actually as we talk about the individual profile and what we are doing, Dr. Shirley as a coach, feel confidence in what she's doing. The third question I want to ask you, Dr. Shirley, is in what ways we cultivate growth mindset and embrace challenges as opportunities for personal development.
That's a good question. And so for me, I think you have to take challenges and not look at them as something negative. And it doesn't matter how big or bad they seem. Don't give it a big or bad meaning, but look at it as an opportunity. One of my sayings that I say is take the lesson and leave the pain. So when there are challenges that we face, there's an opportunity for us to learn, for us to grow, for us to go higher, for us to go farther, for us to get deeper. So we have to take those opportunities that try to challenge us and bring us down, and I'm referring to my word that no weapon formed against me shall prosper, but it doesn't tell me that no weapon will form.
Okay.
So I have to take those opportunities of challenges and say, this is a lesson that is being taught. What is the lesson in this pain? What is the lesson in this challenge? And so we have to adopt a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset that feel like it's going to always be like this. I always say, if you keep on riding in the rain, you're going to see the sunshine somewhere. So you just have to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And one of my other things that I say on a regular basis is keep it moving. You have to keep it moving. You have to keep moving when it hurt. You have to keep it moving when you're crying. When you have to keep it moving when you don't know the next step. You have to keep it moving when you don't have the support. You have to keep it moving despite of the things that are happening. And so you cultivate a growth mindset to say that I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm experiencing new things, I'm getting out of my comfort zone. And one thing about it, get to the other side and you have to experience something similar or the same in the future. You will not be the same because you will go with the lessons that you learned from the last time. So you're not starting from the beginning. You can say this is the next step in this process. These strategies, because I'm not the same woman that I was yesterday. That's the challenge that we should have when we're having challenges, that we can take the challenges in which we have and adopt them and make them opportunities for learning, for growing, for being better, to say that this thing and how am I going to be better tomorrow than I am today. I can take this thing and say it's going to take me further higher and it's going to make me go around this situation, but I'm going to come out so much stronger. When I was a little kid, they said, what don't kill you? It make you better. It make you stronger. So we have to stop looking at challenges as negative. Sometimes we may not know. We may not know the answer. We may not know how. We may not know when. But you have to go by faith. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And so that faith comes by hearing, and it comes by the brother. You don't have to have. You don't have to be religious to have. That is because that's the relationship that empowers me. That's the relationship that strengthens me. That's the relationship that encourages me. That is the relationship that says, girl, you can do it because I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me.
Okay. We're gonna be taking a break and come right back. Let me see. We're coming right back in the next probably just 5 minutes break. Okay. Looking back on our trafficking situation, we want to give you probably 2 more questions as we round up tonight on our show. But those of us who are listening, again, we are here at the hour of assignment, and we are talking to Dr. Onika Shelley. Dr. Onika Shelley is a coach, and she is the CEO for Action Speaks Volume. And with the motivation of the people that speak to her, have the motivational, and how I think she one of the motivational person. When you talk about Action Speak, Dr. Shelley, before we go to our 2 questions, Sometimes people want to know about, the organization you run, and probably sometimes, why, the word action speak volume. And sometimes they want sometimes to know what do you mean, when you say action speaks. What is the what you think, can be in that word, in your own words. Action speaks.
Action speaks. I mean, we've heard over the years that action speaks louder than words. And when 9 years ago, and God gave me the name Action Speaks Volume. And when you think about volume, when you just think about the visual of volume, it's wide, it's deep. When you
Hmm.
think about and when you think about action, action truly speaks louder than words. We can say a lot of things,
Yeah.
but when we do not do those things that we say, those words are like null and void. So when you think about action speaks, the action that we takes, it speaks where we don't never have to open
Hmm.
our mouth. The things that we do. So I am a person of doing. Few words, but doing. And so when you think about it speaks volume, it
Hmm.
speaks loud, it speaks louder than anything that we can say, that when we take action, action covers a multitude of things. When we're short in our coming, when we take action, that gets us so much farther. It takes us ahead. It get things done. We achieve our goals. We
Hmm.
accomplish things when we take action, because there's nothing like having ideas and dreams. It doesn't matter how much we know, but if we don't do what we know, do's no good. And
Hmm.
so it's the action that we take, that when we implement the things in which we
Hmm.
know, you know, there's a saying that they have at one of the schools, that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And I always thought of that when I used to read the kids' church. It's like knowledge applied is powerful. Because
Hmm.
if you don't apply what you know, you can know a lot of things, but if you do nothing with it, it doesn't do anybody any good. So action
Hmm.
speaks. And so action have a volume and have a voice
A
that's
voice.
louder than words.
A volume and a voice that is louder than words. And the thing about actions, it speaks, sometime, or like she said, like most men, women, we can be silent, but sometimes our silence doesn't mean, well, we stupid sometimes. And silent will also sometimes speaks of something. People who keep silent, sometimes they're a little quiet, but they're a little dangerous, because silence speaks. And the thing about the word volume, like you said, it's not an echo. It's just an echo. It gave some sign that this is going to happen. This is, I'm going to do this, and it sound positively. And I like the action speak volume. I really love that. Actually, the word action speaks volume. And that's what I asked you the question. Okay, we're going down to our next question tonight. We have two more questions. One, the next one is, how can we effectively manage our stress and anxiety in our daily lives? Dr. Onika.
That's a great question. So, one, you have to first acknowledge that you have stress. So, you have to identify your stress triggers. I mean, whether it's things or it's places, it can be people. You have to identify the things, as we like to say, that stresses us out. So, you have to take note of situations. You have to be in the moment and be present and be mindful of the things, the places, and the people that causes you stress, that tend to cause you stress. So by you identifying your stress triggers, you can develop strategies either to avoid or how to better cope with them. Because
Hmm.
sometimes you may not have to eliminate a person altogether, but you may have to eliminate the time you spend with a person. Some people you can only tolerate for 10 or 15 minutes. You can't spend a whole day with them because they'll stress
Hmm.
you out. So you have to identify that. And that is your right to do that. You don't have to be around people all day long, all night long, and be in situations all on an ongoing basis because you feel like you have to. You identify how people make you feel when you're in their environment. And so that's when I don't understand how people can be in relationships where individuals don't talk, because that seems stressful to me. You know, I couldn't be in a relationship where we're not communicating because there's a vibe that comes off in an environment when you're passing by and heat or wind or whatever is blowing and you're not speaking. There's just a vibe that I can't deal with. But you have to identify your stress triggers. You also have to practice, relaxation techniques. Do some things that it kind of gets back to that work-life balance. Where if work is always stressing you out because you're not doing anything, you never take a vacation, you never go outside and you never listen at the birds or look at the trees, and you never hear the wind blow. For me, I have a motorcycle. I like to ride my motorcycle and let the wind blow in my ear where I'm listening at my music. I'm not, I'm not working. I'm not worried about, I'm worried about my safety around me. But you find some things, whether it's swimming, walking, jogging, exercising, listening to music, whatever that is for you, set you up a space.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Setting up a space. Are you there?
Having a few internet issues, but sometimes you have to close your to everything else and say, I'll worry about that in its time, but I'm going to do this for me. And so then another thing, prioritizing again your self-care. As I said in the beginning, how do you build self-confidence? But you have to practice that self-care. So that is another way, because if you're always being there for everybody and doing everything for everybody, you everything to everybody, which you shouldn't be trying to be, you have to prioritize your self-care. You have to manage your time. I referenced 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. And this is the thing about that. Everybody get that. So if we all have 1,440 minutes a day, and if I give 440 minutes of my time to somebody else, that makes me be down to 1,000 minutes. And it makes them be up to like 1,880. So that's not really balanced. So you have to time manage. So sometimes you have to schedule time with people and cut them off. If you give them 30 minutes, you give them 30 minutes. You don't have to sit there 3 hours and feel guilty because you have cut them off. Effective time management can help reduce your stress, because if you're spending too much time in one area, then you may not have enough time to do other things that you need to do. So I can't spend my time chit-chatting and talking to people that don't have goals, that's not trying to achieve anything. They feel like you don't have time. No, I don't have time to do nothing, because I always say, I've had this saying that I've said for years. I said, when you have much to manage, you don't have time to waste. And so I have to manage my time the way I see fit that will reduce stress, because I'm not trying to, I'm not up on, a deadline because I got to rush because I've wasted time in other areas. So we have to prioritize our tasks. We have to be realistic with our goals, and we have to break them down into smaller portions where I may not be able to talk to you for 3 hours. I may be able today to talk to you for 3 minutes. And if that's not good enough, that's not my problem. But that's just the way it has to be. And then you have to seek support. Sometimes you have to seek support because it kind of gets back to Reverend Jarvis when he said about being independent. Sometimes being too independent can cause you stress because you're trying to do everything on your own. So sometimes you have to delegate. Sometimes you have to hire people. Sometimes you have to let some stuff go. So you have to seek support where you need support. So instead of you trying to do everything and be everything to everybody, seek support and not be so picky to feel like, well, I have to do it myself because they don't do it like me. Sometimes that can add stress to you. So remember, managing your stress, it is a personal journey, and that it may be different for every person. So you have to do you and do this for you.
Hmm. Wow. You stress something up, and like the stress, managing your stress, stress manage effective management of stress and anxiety. Looking at far back at some of us that experience we have, and you know those of us who are listening, you are with somebody or with a group of people or whoever you may, maybe your spouse or whatever, your time management, or probably you might be going into some anger situation where you get so tired of being with that person and or those people, and because your time is not managed within, like she talk about the number of time you have in a day, then you got to manage it. And your stress, your stress management, and how can we as people looking listening to the sound of my voice, because there are people that have this hard temperament, and they can just manage stress and anxiety. They're so they when they are stressful, they ought to take their own life. But what they experience, you say walking away. Sometime you have to go up there, the tree. You ride on your bicycle, make yourself happy, go and do some things, and take away some of the thing. Go to some places that you think you want to go in order to ease. Because when you're not able to manage stress, actually, I'm going to pose this question before we go to the last question. When you're not able to manage stress, Dr. Shirley, what do you think, in your own experience, what do you think happens to you when you are not able to manage stress and anxiety?
When you're not able to manage stress and anxiety, people find themselves depressed or explosion. They find themselves
Hmm,
reacting versus responding when you're not able to appropriately manage stress. And
hmm.
sometimes it spills over into other areas and to other people that have nothing to do with why you're stressed out. But there's no segregation to what you're going through and the other people that are around you. So it's important that we manage our personal stress.
Hmm. That is very important. And because, yes, like you said, you can't just be self-independent. You need support. And probably this sometime our experience, some of the support might lead you into something. So, but you got to ask also for direction, because on the assignment there are people who might be after something different, and sometimes you want them to be your support. You want to go to them to, like, coming to you for coaching or for some advice, and and they might turn you down, or they might turn into different things. So again, like as you said, my own experience, and as you listed, you can have support from people with positive. That's what we're talking about. Positive people. People have positive way they respond to things. They are not destructive. They're able to give you advice because they want to see you build up. They want to see you achieve. They want to see your life grows. And we're talking about people who have positive mind. So sometimes when you go into these things, look for people, pray for people for support in order to manage your stress. Okay, so the last question we have, and we're going to be rounding up here, is what steps can we take to create meaningful connections and build a supportive community around us? Hmm.
Okay, that's a great question. So one, you have to be open and you have to be approachable. You can't be closed off and when you're out, you're looking busy, you're looking like you don't want to be bothered. You have to be open and you have to be approachable. Someone
Approachable.
that's willing to listen and not one that's
Hmm.
always talking. Smile and have show genuine interest, because if it's all
Yeah.
about you, if it's all about you, there's a acronym that say it's what's in it for me. What's in it for me, or the radio, what's in it for me. Tell me what's in it for me. A lot of times people want to know that, they want to be in a relationship that it's reciprocity. They can give
Hmm.
and they can get. They can give and they can get. So you want to
Yeah.
be open and approachable, and also you want to seek common interests and share values. And kind of to piggyback on what you just said, where people, want one thing. I mean, you need to need to be you need to be in areas or around people that have common interests. You can't be, you need and so you find organizations, group or networking environments where you can cultivate relationships with people that have a common interest. You can I
Yeah.
mean you can't.
Common.
Now I'm gonna use this example. You that there's a difference. There's a different texture. There's a different look. There's a different outcome. There's a difference. But a lot of times we will find ourselves that we have uncommon interests and we do not have the same values. But we have to find those groups and activities that align with what we are interested in, what is valuable to us, what it is that is interesting to us, because it's just hard to click with people that's not with what you're with. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah,
like
it was the same way.
when people are not, when it's not in alignment, when
Yeah.
there is not there, when there is no
Accountability.
like-mindedness
Yeah.
about what is happening, it's a struggle for you to feel like I can grow and connect in this environment. So you have to seek those common interests. So everything is not for you. You have to be clear on everything and everybody is not for you. You don't have to be a part of everything. You don't have to be a part of every group. I'm not a
No.
group clique type of person myself personally.
Yeah.
And because there are certain things that they may do that I don't like or care for, that do not align with my interests, my values.
assignment.
And so I don't have to be a part of those.
Yeah.
But there's a plenty of those. There's always an equal opposite. You can't have a head without a tail. You can't have a front without a back. There's no up
Yeah.
without a down. So there's just as much out there available to you that you value than it is that you don't value, but you have to find yourself going closer and closer to that you value. So it's not that everything is not interesting. No, there's an equal opposite to everything. And being a good listener and giving back to a community, reciprocity. Don't be one that just want to get, always got your hand out and never have anything to hand out. So you want to make sure that it's reciprocity, that you are getting as much as you are. You are getting what you're giving, but you are giving as much as you're getting. And I always like to say, do you give as good as you get? Do you give as good as you get? And sometimes that can be advice, that can be finances, that can be, emotions, that can be compassion, it can be in a plethora of things. But do you give as good as you get, or do you just expect to get and receive? And so the way that you are able to cultivate environments and networks, have some common interests, have some values where you figure, know what people's, I don't know, some people have individual missions and visions, how they see their lives. And when you're in a relationship, you may see this, we have some common things, but our missions is not the same. Our values are not the same. And so sometimes it don't work. And sometimes it's best to stay friends, but separate yourself and not tie yourself up in a situation. And sometimes you have to do the same thing with business partnerships. When the ethics are not right, when the alignment is not right, you have to say, I thought this was a good fit, but this is not a good fit. And it's okay when you see that early on. So you build connections by being the person that you want to receive.
Wow.
Be who you want to receive. Be that person. Be that person to people. And then you will receive. I mean, it's almost like, and I'll say this in closing. It's almost like, you attract who you are. You attract who you are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter about if it's your visible who you are, you know who you are on the inside. So you attract people like you.
Yeah. Wow. and looking at the meaningful connections and the building the support community around us, and because like-minded people, and we talk about positive people, we talk about aligning your calling and with the people that are in support of what you're doing, probably since we've been talking about 2, 3 years, there was no time. I would, Onika would be, Dr. Onika would be on the show, or probably she would tell me straight, I'm going to be busy, and she would definitely, but she gave me the assurance she would be there. And this is how you build up relationship. And one of the things that I learned in everything I do is building up a relationship doesn't mean the person have to give you everything. Building a relationship doesn't mean, well, the person got to be there all the time. Building a relationship would mean that you must know the person and know that they stand for what they stand for, and they understand the dream and the vision, and what you guys are talking about. You guys aligning with each other, and you got to build up that relationship. It's not about, well, okay, since the person is not coming in, or I'm not going to. No. And I think, looking at the environment, looking at the community, looking at the place where we find ourselves, and the people that we work with, like you said, not every organization, not every individual that you might have the passion to work with, or the feeling to work with, because out of they're not the way you think.
Right. And
So
then I want to add something as you was talking. I want to add something. I didn't mean to cut you off. But when I was
yeah,
thinking about, as I think about like-minded people, and we go back to one of those questions, it doesn't add stress. Because
yeah,
when you're not in alignment with people that is not like-minded, you're trying to do things to accommodate an individual that don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you
yeah,
investing so much time in that? Because if they're not in alignment with what you're doing, they feel like you're doing too much. You don't
yeah,
take all of that. It doesn't require that much time. You need
yeah,
to not do this, but you need to be in alignment with people that will at least
yeah,
support what you're doing, even if it's not what they do. And that's
yeah,
what I think is so important, in alignment, because if you're
mm,
not like-minded, it may not be the same thing, but the principles are there.
yeah,
They know that it requires practice, that they
mm,
know that you're going to have to go to rehearsal before the recital. But if you
mm,
have a person that is not like-minded, they'll feel like you're practicing too much, you're practicing too early, you're practicing too late, you're practicing too often, you're practicing too
yeah,
much, you're practicing. And
mm,
so it begins to hinder your progress, because
yeah,
now you're trying to accommodate their feelings and their
mm,
emotions, and now you're slacking on what you know you need to be doing in order to get better. So you need to
yeah,
be in alignment with people that understand. It's
mm,
like the basketball player. If he's going to practice on his free throws, he may practice on 500 to 1,000 a day.
yeah,
The person that don't understand the game of basketball, or don't care, or don't feel
mm,
like that feel like, okay, I did my practice yesterday and it's not necessary for me to do it today. But those
mm,
people understand that your mind is not on anything but making that free throw. Your mind is not on anything but stopping sex trafficking. Your mind
mm,
is not on anything except for empowering people to live the life of their dreams, to get out of their comfort zone, get out of their own head, to get out of their own way. If your mind is
mm.
to take action and to be
Oh,
present in your life,
we
then you
just
need
we,
somebody that's not going to be hindering you, pounding you, and telling you that you're doing too much
yeah.
of what
Hmm.
they think is the wrong thing.
Wow.
Like-mindedness is
Mm,
vital. It's vital.
wow. Just like we have time, we're going to have time, but it's like we should go another 30 minutes because the conversation is so constructive, and so interesting. But actually, as we conclude, I know that must have been some compatibility, or probably seen alignment with vision since we met and been talking about it, and that's why we stay in, or doing what we're doing. But again, to those of us who are listening, as we conclude, in order for us to work together, we must align. We must know that respect should be there. I should respect you, and you respect me. There should be privacy, confidentially. We have one of the things, Dr. Shirley, I respect you, and I respect anybody that I work with, is their privacy, their confidentiality. This is very important in connection, because I see that many people
Absolutely.
sometimes they don't do that, because, well, they get so familiar with this person, so they just think that anytime you call them, they say, okay, yeah, like all the no. It's about looking at the respect, looking at the the person's privacy, looking at confidentiality. All that is very important in connection and in working together to bring the thing we want to bring to our community. So I just want to thank God for you, those of us who are listening. And let me go to Dr. Shirley, as she just in 3 minutes gave her parting statement as we close up today. Dr. Shirley.
Yeah, so I'm super excited again. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. And again, all things action. Take action when you feel like it, don't feel like it. Take action when you don't know, when you do know. As Joyce Meyer says, she said, do it. If you have to do it afraid, just do it. Do it. Yes. Walking by faith, not by sight. Do it, trusting that it will work out. Do it, trusting and believing, knowing that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Do what you know that you have been called to do, because if you have been called to it, you will get through it. God bless you.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you. And those of us who are listening, you are blessed. Thank you for following us. And we say again, Dr. Shirley, thank you for actually making this show tonight very, very, very attractive. And those of us who are listening, we say welcome. And again, you are blessed. Thank you. And God bless you for now. Thank you.
God bless you.